A quiet neighborhood in Carson City. A child gone. A father accused of taking her. An emergency alert racing across Nevada. And by the end of the day, the search had spilled into Southern California, drawing in local deputies, traffic camera tracking, U.S. Marshals, Homeland Security investigators, and Los Angeles County authorities. This is the story of how a 5-year-old girl at the center of an Amber Alert was found safe, and why this case shows just how fast a local disappearance can become an interstate manhunt. Stay with me, because the timeline moved quickly, the details changed as the hours passed, and the final outcome came only after a coordinated search pushed hundreds of miles beyond where this began. The child at the center of the alert was identified as 5-year-old Amaya Meithof. Authorities in Carson City said they believed she had been taken by 41-year-old Christopher Meithof. Early reports described him as the primary suspect. Later reporting from multiple outlets identified him as the girl's father. Authorities also circulated vehicle information almost immediately. A red 2020 Jeep Grand Cherokee with Oregon license plate 576 QNU. That vehicle description became one of the most important pieces of the search, because once investigators believe a child may be moving across county or state lines, every minute matters and every identifying detail becomes operational. According to the most detailed account published by 2 News, deputies were called after the girl's mother, identified as Crystal Rose, told authorities that Christopher Meithof had been allowed to stay overnight so he could visit their 5-year-old child. When she woke up on Sunday morning, both Christopher and Amaya were gone. After hours of trying to contact them, she reached out to the sheriff's office. That detail matters, because it tells us this case did not begin with a random stranger snatch caught on camera. It began inside a family setting, then escalated into a law enforcement emergency once contact was lost and authorities concluded the child had been taken. And this is where an important reality of breaking news comes in. The reporting moved fast. Some early versions of the story tied the disappearance to Monday morning, while a Fox 5 editor's note later clarified that a previous version had listed June 1st, but missingkids.org said the date was actually May 31st. In other words, the Amber Alert dominated Monday coverage, but the underlying disappearance appears to have begun on Sunday. That's a critical distinction for your audience, because it explains why some reports refer to Sunday afternoon or Sunday morning, while others focus on the Monday alert. In fast-breaking cases involving missing children, the first headlines often reflect the time the alert goes public, not the exact moment the original disappearance began. Authorities said Amaya had been taken from the area of 2021 Lone Mountain Drive, or Lone Mountain No. 15, in Carson City. Descriptions released to the public were limited but specific where it mattered most operationally. Amaya was described in initial reports as a white 5-year-old girl. Christopher Meithof was described as 41 years old, 6 feet tall, and around 170 pounds. One report also noted that the child had common allergies. That may sound like a small detail, but in missing child cases, medical or allergy information can raise urgency, because investigators have to account not only for where a child might be, but also for whether basic care needs are being met during the time they are missing. Very early on, authorities made clear they believed the suspect vehicle could be headed toward Quartz Hill, California, near Lancaster. That is a huge turn in the story. This was no longer just a Carson City missing child investigation. The moment law enforcement publicly signals a likely direction of travel into another state, the search map changes. The public is no longer looking at a local block, a school zone, or a city perimeter. Now the focus expands to highways, border corridors, plate recognition systems, and interagency communication. A red Jeep with an Oregon plate, leaving Nevada and possibly heading toward the Antelope Valley area of California, gives investigators a search spine to work from. It's not certainty, but it is enough to mobilize. According to 2 News, deputies checked local traffic systems and flock cameras, then located Christopher Meithof's red Jeep Grand Cherokee traveling southbound on U.S. 395 near Old Clear Creek Road. They also tried to call him, but his phone reportedly went straight to voicemail. That sequence gives the audience a real look at how modern searches work. This was not just officers driving around hoping for a sighting. This was a technology-assisted search. Traffic systems, camera networks, vehicle tracking based on make, model, plate, and direction of travel. In a case like this, every data point tightens the net. And once the search corridor points south, investigators in Nevada and California are effectively racing the same clock. As the alert spread, the message to the public was blunt. If you see them, call 911. That instruction appeared across multiple reports. And this is worth stressing in your script, because Amber Alerts work by turning ordinary people into part of the detection grid. A gas station clerk, a commuter, someone at a stoplight, someone scrolling local alerts before work. The public was given a child's name, a suspect name, a vehicle description, a plate number, and a likely route. That is how authorities turn fragmented information into a broader field of awareness. This case shows the logic of that system in real time. Narrow the description, widen the audience, and push the alert before the distance becomes overwhelming. Then came the break. By Monday afternoon, authorities announced the child had been found safe. News 3 reported that around 2:15 p.m. on June 1st, the U.S. Marshals Pacific Southwest Fugitive Task Force, Homeland Security Investigations Los Angeles Division, and the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Office Major Crimes Bureau conducted a traffic stop in Palmdale, California, and recovered the missing Carson City child. That detail is huge. It shows the search had moved from alert mode to tactical interdiction. This was no longer just a lookout bulletin. It had become a targeted enforcement action involving federal and local agencies operating together in Southern California. Some outlets described the child and suspect as being found in Lancaster, California, while News 3 emphasized a traffic stop in Palmdale, and KTNV reported Christopher Meithof was arrested during a traffic stop in Palmdale. The cleanest way to explain that on YouTube is this. The recovery and arrest happened in the Palmdale-Lancaster area of northern Los Angeles County, and reporting varied on the exact point in that sequence. What does not vary is the core outcome. The child was found safe. The suspect was taken into custody, and the Amber Alert was canceled. When you present it this way, you respect the facts without overstating precision that the available reporting does not fully align on. Authorities said Amaya was found safe and unharmed. News 3 added that Christopher Meithof was not with the child at the exact moment of recovery, but was later located and arrested at a residence near the traffic stop. The same report said he was arrested without incident and held at the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department Palmdale Station, pending extradition to Nevada. News 3 also reported that the child was placed in the care of Palmdale Child Protective Services to help facilitate her return to her mother. That ending matters. Not just found, not just case closed. Safe, unharmed, and placed into protective care for reunification. Those are the words that shift this story from fear to relief. 8 News now added another important media note. After the child was found safe, the story was updated to remove details that could identify the victim. That is worth highlighting briefly in the script, because it shows the tension newsrooms face in cases like this. Early on, public identification can help locate a missing child. Later, once the child is safe, some outlets may reduce identifying details to protect privacy. For a faceless news channel, that is a useful editorial lesson. You can tell the story with urgency and clarity while still being careful not to exploit a child's identity for drama. The facts are powerful enough on their own. So why does this case matter beyond one terrifying day? Because it demonstrates the real architecture of a modern interstate child recovery operation. A local sheriff's office receives the report. Deputies gather the first timeline. A vehicle description goes out. Traffic and camera systems help establish movement. Public alerts widen the search. Federal and out-of-state partners enter the picture. Then a coordinated stop ends the search. Strip away the emotion for a moment, and what you're looking at is a layered response system working under time pressure across jurisdictions. Add the emotion back in, and you understand why every one of those layers matters. Because in missing child cases, distance is danger, time is pressure, and coordination is everything. There is also a broader current affairs angle here. This story is a reminder that local news events can quickly become regional security stories. Carson City is not Los Angeles. But once investigators believed the vehicle was headed toward Quartz Hill, and once the child was later recovered in the Palmdale-Lancaster area, this became a cross-border operation within the American law enforcement system. State lines did not stop the search. Jurisdiction did not freeze the response. Instead, The case moved through a network of agencies that had to share information, move quickly, and act on incomplete but actionable intelligence. In an era where so many viewers hear breaking news and think only of politics or international crisis, this is another form of real-time state capacity. Alert systems, interagency coordination, and public communication all deployed around one urgent objective. In the end, this story closed with the best headline possible under the circumstances. The child was found safe. But getting there required a chain of decisions that all had to happen fast. A mother realized something was wrong. Deputies responded. Vehicle data was circulated. The public was alerted. Agencies in another state got involved. A stop was made. A child was recovered. A suspect was arrested. And maybe that is the most important point to leave your viewers with. Cases like this can begin in silence. A missing child, a car gone, a phone that goes straight to voicemail. But they can also end because people act quickly, systems connect, and the search does not stop at the county line or the state border. In this case, the fear was real. The urgency was real. But so was the outcome. A 5-year-old at the center of an Amber Alert was found safe, and an interstate search came to an end in Southern California.